There are basically 4 differences between non-profits and for-profits. First difference is the reason for the establishment of the organization. If we're dealing with a business, legally the main objective is to make money. Doesn't always make money, but so long as the main objective is to make money. With a non-profit organization, for most organizations, they pursue a public benefit objective. Not all of them, but most organizations, and we're talking today mostly about public benefit organizations. So their objective is for the public benefit. And for every organization, it's unique. So 2 different objectives. Now, a non-profit organization can make money, but profit must not be their main objective, which is important from a governance perspective because you can quickly assess the effectiveness of a board for a business because you look at the financial statements, made a profit or a loss. With a non-profit, it's not that easy because your objective is unique and the effectiveness of the board should be assessed against the objectives of the organization. So if they missed their objectives, they're actually ineffective. But not many organizations measure the performance of their boards. So some of them become bored, B-O-R-E-D. Right? Secondly, the difference between non-profits and for-profits. For a business, if you make a profit, the members or the shareholders are entitled to share in the profits. With a non-profit, you can't do that. A non-profit organization must use the profits for the purpose of the organization. So you can pay your staff members. In fact, legally you can pay your board members, but because non-profits rely mostly on donor funding, in most cases their board members are not getting paid, which presents a second challenge for non-profits. And that is practically how it works. If a business wants a board member, they would say, listen, please, can you serve on our board? We'll pay you a director's fee. Let's say 10,000 rands a month. If a non-profit wants a board member, they would come and say, will you please serve on our board? We've got tea and biscuits at our board meeting. Right? So, I mean, if you have that kind of a option, unless you have that kind of wisdom that Solomon has got, it's tempting to go for the 10,000 a month, right? So as non-profit organizations, they have to be more innovative when asking people to serve on their board. But unfortunately, they're not. I mean, most of them are saying, listen, come serve on our board. You just have to come to board meetings 4 times a year. Have you heard that? I mean, that's self-defeating. But that's a challenge for non-profit organizations. They accept the same responsibility in terms of governance. Secondly, or thirdly, what happens at dissolution? When the organization dissolves, if it's a business, usually there's nothing left over, but in principle, if anything is left over, it gets divided amongst the shareholders, so it can get divided. With a non-profit, you can't do that. It must be transferred to another non-profit organization with similar objectives. So I think the reason for that is, let's say somebody makes a donation to the non-profit organization, they're actually donating towards the objectives, not so much to the organization. So if the organization falls away, what's left over must be used for a similar objective. And then lastly, with a business, there's ownership, shareholders. With a non-profit organization, there's no ownership. Now that sounds very basic, but if you listen to some of the language in non-profits, people claim stuff like parking bays and offices and all of that. And legally, there's no ownership.